time for Rollergames. Are you ready?
Direct from the Super Rollergames, it's Rollergames! Tonight, the Rockers attempt to scratch the Violators' winning record. Can that dirty, rotten Mr. Mean make heartthrob rocker Brian Jacobson sing to a new tune? Will Jar the Star outshine Sweet Stephanie? Just wait and see. What will the twins get back to the T-Birds alive?
Rockin' roller games, rockin' roller games, rockin' roller games, rockin' roller games.
Plus, at halftime, our own Tammy Hatton makes her national TV debut, live on the Super Rollergames stage, all tonight on
And hello again, everyone, from the Super Roller Dome. With David Sams, I'm Chuck Underwood, with a game tonight that, as seems to be the case now every week, features secret plans, hidden agendas, and even tonight, stolen motorcycles.
There you have it, Chuck. Basically, the Violators are ticked off. They claim that prior to today's game, now get this, that the Rockers actually took their bikes and went joyriding. Now, I hardly find that to be the case, especially on game day. However, it may be true. In any event, the Rockers claim that they have some kind of a secret game plan to overcome the Violators. We'll have to see what happens.
Well, here come the Violators, and how about this? Like a dripping faucet, they're barely trickling out of the tunnel. Normally, you would find them bursting through the smoke at Mach speed.
United by a prehistoric code of savagery, the Violators have become the most sadistic bone crushers in the league. And Chuck, they are responsible for stealing one of the T-Bird twins, Jennifer Van Golder, as you can see right there on the screen. That is disgusting. And that's another disgusting sight right there. The headmaster of this pain machine, Skull.
Here's Shelly Jamieson.
The Violators are really ticked off tonight. Earlier, the Rockers were playing their music so loud in the locker room, Skull couldn't hear himself think, so he couldn't tell his team what to do. We'll find out what happens. If they're mad enough, it'll be nasty. We'll find out. And now, let's take a look at the Rockers.
Well, Shelly, if Skull couldn't hear himself think, that at least sort of documents that he does think. And now the Rockers, with those ever-present guitars, leopard skin uniforms, thank you very much, and a good skating team. I think we're in for some bruises tonight, and there is not their manager, but their entertainment attorney, DJ Torigno.
She's the briefcase barracuda, the shark of Century City, the brass cupcake. And speaking of cupcakes, there's one right there. Star, the Star.
Well, she says her career objective is to have her face on every child's lunchbox. Kind of what you'd expect from someone born in Hollywood.
I'd buy that lunchbox, Chuck.
Well, you would also buy the Rollergames soundtrack, which showcases her singing.
And she's on her way, all the way to the top of the charts.
On the infield, the Skull looking over the opposition. And on his own bench tonight, David, a woman who would prefer not to be there, Jennifer Van Gelder, right there.
I'd say let's get her back on the T-Birds. Let's get her back on the T-Birds. Some way, somehow, we've got to do it. Here's the grudge to watch tonight. It's the California Kid, Mike Flanagan, versus that disgusting, that diabolical Mr. Mean himself.
The men will skate the first period, and remember, 45-second scoring cycle. They try to squeeze in as many of those as possible in a 6-minute period. Only the guys in the helmet can score, and that is the Bill Hook Reed in the red helmet, who gets no points on the wall of death, and Rockin' Ray Robles, who gets 2 on the wall. They both get 2 on the jet jump. Rockin' Ray instantly decks the hook, and now will go for individual points. And the idea there is to pass opponents if you can. He's going to try to get around rear blocker, Mr. Mean. He hasn't done it yet. If he does, he'll get a single point. And Mr. Mean misses, bounces off the rail. That's a point for Rockin' Ray. Mr. Mean trying to catch up. The killer misses. So does Shifty Bob Sendejas. Rockin' Ray fandangos through the opposition and gives his team a first cycle lead of 5-4.
And Rockin' Ray is just looking for trouble tonight, and he's going to get plenty of it from this Violator team, including Mr. Mean. Oh, like I said.
Rockin' Ray rolling over the rail in front of the Violator cheerleaders who are taunting him.
These two have it out for each other. Remember, in the Commissioner's Cup, They absolutely devastated one another, and I have a feeling that tonight, Mr. Mean is the man with the master plan, and he's after these rockers once and for all.
The helmets of the Jetters pass to fresh legs. For the Violators, it'll be the killer, Greg Robertson, in the black, and in the leopard skin for the Rockers, wild man Holly Masterson, only a rookie. A whip as they head for the jetway. Only the Jetters are permitted in that part of the figure-8 loop. Each man gets 2 on the wall of death, and over the jump, they get 2 points. Killer catching up with Holly Masterson and dragging him to the rail, and down goes the wild man. Killer coming up on rear blocker gentleman John Rodriguez, as taking a second hit as the wild man. Here comes the enforcer, Tony Trujillo, and with that tomahawk job, it opens the door up for the men in black, and look at the Killer go. He's coattailing Shifty Zendejas, who is clearing a path. He stops the cycle, and it was a good one for the Violators.
And here's the Rockers starting lineup. It's a real hit with the fans, especially that number 4 right there, Brian Jacobson. Boy, I'll tell you, he's a heartthrob, and he's also one of those Rookie of the Year candidates, Chuck.
Violators lead 12-9. Their Jetter is Mr. Mean, and the Rockers are going with Bam Bam, Art May, all 225 pounds of him. Mr. Mean gets 2 on the wall of death. And he gets a full 6 coming over the jump. And look at the pile. His power guard had tied up the opposition. He's going to try and get around him again for another quick 3 points. Rockin' Ray Robles is waiting. And Rockin' Ray misses with the screamer. Mr. Mean stops the cycle. It is an enormous scoring cycle for his team. And down goes Rockin' Ray.
Unbelievable. The crowd's now throwing popcorn at him.
One more time.
A scolding from referee Don Lastra. Another look at him leaping the pile.
As we can see in roller motion, he racks up the points that really count.
And then a look at the screamer that wasn't. That's one of Rockin' Ray's patented moves. You can understand the celebration. Mr. Mean scored 12 points for his team, and the Rockers got zipped.
That was illegal, and you know it.
You don't know what you did.
No, I'm sorry. Get over it.
Tell it to people's court.
Get out of it.
Boy, DJ's really laying down the law tonight.
She can hold her own, can't she? That's Shifty Bob Zendejas, the lead Jetter. Behind him is the rolling rocker, Brian Jacobson, and he gets 6 on the wall of death. Now he's going to send Shifty outside, and look at him go. Canadian-born, raised in Indianapolis, and a candidate, as David mentioned, for Rookie of the Year. Let's watch him work against the enforcer, Tony Trujillo. The enforcer is a veteran, taking on the rookie. Needs to get around to score some individual points, so he gets some help from Rockin' Ray Robles. There's another point. 3 seconds left in the cycle, scrambling to get more, and he can't do it. But it was a good one for the Rockers, and they now trail by only 9. And here is a look quickly at how the scoring is done in the jetway. That means the wall of death and the jump.
Above that top line, if you take 3 big strides, you get 6 points. Between those 2 lines, you get 2 points. And, of course, on the jump, same thing, 6 points if you make it over that 12-foot marker, 2 points below it. And if you just land safely, you also get 2 points. But, Chuck, it's not that easy.
Nope, as we have seen through the weeks. That's Mr. Mean, jetting in what probably is going to be the final cycle of this first period. And behind him is Rockin' Ray Robles. Rockin' Ray out of El Paso, Texas. Each man gets 2 on the wall and 2 on the jump. Bodies strewn ahead of them, but they both step by, so they both get a quick 3 points. And this is a rarity, a second pass at the jetway. 2 points again on the wall, and 2 on the jump, and again the blob ahead of them. Rockin' Ray crashes into it and gets no points. Mr. Mean got around it, so he gets 3 more as the LA Gear scoreboard reflects the count. Violators lead by 12.
And there's Jennifer Van Golder, the former T-Bird twin. Of course, she's been torn away from her sister. What do we have here? Chuck, this looks like a rematch from that earlier point in the season.
There's Rockin' Ray Robles and Mr. Mean, and yep, several weeks ago, this.
Here's Mr. Mean once again. That's the sadistic barbarian.
The metal studs that he is trying to carve into the forehead of Robles, who now makes a comeback.
Get him, Rockin' Ray! Mr. Mean deserves every bit of that. Oh, now he's going to give him a good spanking.
He's undressed Mr. Mean, removing Mr. Mean's belt, and is now using it on him. The Mr. Mean survives this, he and his Violators are going to come right back in a few minutes and face the Keepers for the Commissioner's Cup.
Back to live action. All these weeks later, here we are again. Once again, a rematch.
Yep, live action, but the same action. Mr. Mean and Rockin' Ray, skate to skate, nose to nose.
Oh, I think he's going to try to throw him into the pit.
The alligator pit filled with water. Oh, they're on the infield now, and it's anarchy.
Total mayhem.
The Skull stepping in, leopard skin uniform surrounding Mr. Mean. Mike Garth, the referee, trying to survive. DJ Torigno looking on, whistles blaring. Holy cow.
Send him into the penalty pod.
End of the period. Let's go down to Shelly Jamieson.
I'm here with Sweet Stephanie. It seems you've been having a little trouble with Jennifer Van Gelder, former T-Bird twin who's now on your team.
Look, I've had it with this girl. She shouldn't even be with the Violators. Now it's time she learned a lesson, and she's going to learn it now. I've had it with her. She can't skate. Her and her lousy sister, they look like...
Stephanie, are you off on them again? Now listen, Stephanie, ever since I've known you, all you do is dog people. I think it's just insecurity. Man, it's not her fault she's on your team. Did you ever stop to think it's because you guys can't skate? I stop to think that it's because you can't skate. No, God, Stephanie. You wait until they get her. I don't care, Doyle. Keep it to the trend. This is an argument that will probably be solved very shortly here, so stand by.
That's the end of the first period with the Violators leading the Rockers 41-29. Next up, the ladies, as Dar the Star spars with Sweet Stephanie. And then later, a titillating tune from Terrific Tammy.
You are watching the Ward Network.
A wave in the Super Roller Dome as we prepare for the second period of play between the Violators and the Rockers. The Violators lead by 12, and in the second period, it's the ladies who are up. The whistle shrieks, and like thoroughbreds breaking from the gate, they're off. The Jetters will be Nasty Nancy Wilkinson in the black for the Violators, and for the Rockers, it'll be Queenie Cromie.
Not much of a whip there, Chuck.
Yeah, in that opening lap, the idea is to build up speed. There's Queenie, and because she didn't get much of a whip, she gets no points on the wall of death. She gets 2 over the jump. Nasty Nancy, meanwhile, got a total of 4.
Now, I can't stress just how important it is for a jetter to get the proper whip when approaching the wall of death. Because without the proper whip, you're not going to get the right kind of navigation, and therefore you're not going to go high enough on the wall to be able to score that big 6 points.
There's Nasty Nancy trying to get individual points now, and she gets a couple as she passes some leopard skins. Can she get around Dar the Star? Oh, nope. The 45-second scoring cycle ends, but it's been a good one for the Violators as you look at Nasty Nancy.
Let's take a look now at that Violator lineup. As you can see at the bottom of your screen, number 6, Jennifer Van Gelder, has absolutely no business being on this team. She belongs on the T-Birds.
I'm not on your back. You watch that hair forward. This is your warning.
Sweet Stephanie and Don Lastra nose to nose.
Warnings, warnings, warnings.
She will keep the pot stirred for the entire game. You may rest assured of that. The helmets are passed to the Flea, Paula Wilson of the Violators, and Deadly Debbie Van Doren of the Rockers. Deadly Debbie will be first up that 14-foot wall. Up they go. 2 points easily for both women on the wall of death. And they get 2 on the jump as well. And now look at them go as Deadly Debbie rolls over onto the concrete. Tiny little Paula Wilson, 4 feet 11. Low center of gravity. It really helps in this sport where on skates you can be so easily bumped off balance. She says, I can't get hurt out here because if they can't see me, they can't hit me. That's Lady D, Donna Young, number 2, doing the rear blocking. The Flea trying to get around her. Sidecar goes down, but takes Lady D with her. That's a single point for the Flea, and she closes nicely in the cycle.
Now let's take a look at the Rocker starting lineup, led by Dar the Star. And Chuck, she is turning out to be quite a star. She receives more fan mail than just about anyone.
There's the woman promoting her, DJ Torigno.
Her entertainment attorney.
Get him.
Skull yelling, get him. Well, for his Violators, the new jetter is going to be Sweet Stephanie, and it'll be Lady D, Donna Young for the Rockers. Lady D is in her 10th year in this sport. Preparing for the whip, There's Stephanie. Dar reaches back blindly and whips Sweet Stephanie. Doesn't help. Stephanie hits the deck. No
I have
point.
a feeling I know what happened. I think Dar gave her a little twist that time. It twisted her arm, caused her to fall down.
Lady D, meanwhile, was tied up and never got a pass at the jetway. Sweet Stephanie holding back. Trying to get around Lady D, the rear blocker. Dar comes up to double teener. Under 10 seconds in the cycle. Good blocking by Dar. Stephanie hesitates. Now she accelerates with 3 seconds left. Oh, and gets railed and somersaults over the pipe as the cycle ends.
Right at the feet of the Rocker cheerleaders. Oh, there's one of Dar's fans right there, Chuck.
As we will take another look in slow-mo at Sweet Stephanie losing out on the wall of death.
You see there, she just got a whip by Dar the Star, something very unusual. Normally, of course, you only help your own teammate out as far as the whip, but then Sweet Stephanie takes a tumble on the wall of death. That's an 80-degree bank there. A devastating blow to this team.
And to that woman who in this cycle is going to spend some time on the infield and catch her breath. The Violators in the black are going to be jetting the Flea again, and for the Rockers again, it'll be Deadly Debbie. First one up, a bit off balance, is the Flea. 2 points. And for Deadly Debbie, 2.
Not quite enough on that.
2 per lady on the jet jump. That's Vicky O there with the wild blonde hair doing some rear blocking. Both jetters tied up. Deadly Debbie will try to get around Vicky O. The Flea will try to get around Lady D, and she'll fail. And Deadly Debbie is going to get some help from Lady D, who with the left arm is clearing them out. Deadly Debbie sweeps by and gets her points. Here come the Rockers. They're right now trailing in double figures with 5 seconds left in the cycle. Deadly Debbie gets a final point, and the Flea gets a final bruise. It's now, though, a 9-point game, 56-47. Violators lead, but 9 points is nothing. And we now want to give you an update on an off-the-track story, that of hot flash skater and aspiring singer, terrific Tammy Hansen.
And tonight, Tammy's dreams are going to come true. She's going to sing at halftime on the Rollergames stage, despite the ongoing threats by Ms. Georgia Haas to keep her off the stage.
I'm here with terrific Tammy Hansen of Hot Flash. She also has 2 singles on the new Rollergames soundtrack. You must be pretty excited.
I'm extremely excited. This is really exciting for me. I've worked so hard on my singing, and I'm finally on television for Rollergames. I'm really happy.
This is your big break.
Yeah, I hope so.
Now, you come from a musical family.
Yes, my mother was in the group The Platters. They have a lot of hit songs.
So you're no stranger to this business, then?
No.
Well, that's great, Tammy. We wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you. Back to you, Chuck and Dave.
Okay, ladies, we've got perhaps one final cycle left before terrific Tammy steps up on stage. And the jetters are going to be Sweet Stephanie for the Violators and Lady D for the Rockers. Building up speed. And look at Dar the Star. She did it again. She whipped her arch enemy, Sweet Stephanie, actually helping her build up speed on the wall in the jump. She gets a total of 4. Lady D, losing now her red helmet, never got a chance to get up the jetway. The opponents tied her up.
Can you explain that one, Chuck?
All I can explain is that Dar is obviously angry now and lying in the weeds, waiting like a coiled rattlesnake to pepper this woman that only seconds ago she mistakenly helped. Sweet Stephanie paying a price. Meanwhile, Lady D races by, stops the cycle, and recovers at least a few of the points.
From all around the world, folks want to know more about Rollergames, and that's why we're coming out with a new Rollergames magazine. It's the new 1990 yearbook edition, and you can read more about your favorite stars, including these 2 right here, Dar the Star and Sweet Stephanie, the Queen of Mean.
Sweet Stephanie likes to use opposing players' hair as a target.
What's this, Chuck?
That's Jennifer Van Gelder stepping in.
The former Keeper twin.
What's going on?
There she is, nose to nose with, well, apparently helping Dar the Star.
Helping her. What's the star doing up here?
It seems as though this former Keeper twin was sticking up for Dar the Star.
Who's not done. One more shot for Sweet Stephanie, who in the course of most games will win her share of battles, but this ain't been one of them nights.
Well, it just goes to show you how it goes against Jennifer's good nature to be on this Violator team in the first place.
Well, we have reached halftime in the Super Roller Dome. The score is the Violators 60, the Rockers 51. These ladies will get a much-needed break and return for the third period, and then in the fourth, it'll be the men. Coming up at halftime, Wally George will be peppering somebody, and Terrific Tammy gets her chance.
I don't know, Chuck. George is trying to stop her.
Wally George here at Roller Sports Central. Well, it's happened again. During last night's Violator Maniac game, the Gators were once again used to break a tie. This is an outrage. I said it before, and I'll say it again, folks. Ban the Gators from the game. Return those slimy green lizards to the swamps where they belong. And while we're at it, ship Animal back to the jungle as well. Let's end this ridiculous Gator scenario once and for all and get back to the pure game as it was intended to be. Write to me and give me your opinion. If you don't write, I've got friends in high places, and I'll end up banning those Gators myself. I say enough of this. It's time for my roller beat. You can call me old-fashioned if you want, folks, but I can remember a time when sports were just sports. Not just an excuse for senseless violence. I mean, you can't go to a baseball game without a bench-clearing brawl these days. Football's the same way. And hockey, well, forget it. And now, Georgia Haas feels that she has to hype her team by adding a fist fight every 2 minutes. Well, I'm no sissy. I've never backed away from a fight in my life, and I'm not about to start now. But there's a time and a place for senseless violence, and it's not in the friendly confines of the Super Roller Dome. I'd like to show you some videotape right now of a recent match. I mean, look at this.
On to the championship. Uh-oh! There's Georgia Haas once again. I think she's a little upset over this defeat.
Gracious loser? No.
Come on, Georgia. That's the
I mean, what is this? Roller games or a barroom brawl?
Flying again.
If I wanted to watch a good fight, I'd look in my neighbor's bedroom window. Roller games is about skating, not about fighting. And if you don't happen to agree, then meet me behind the stadium after this show, and I'll break you like a dry twig. I'm Wally George, and I welcome your comments.
The opinions of Wally George practically never reflect those of the producers.
Well, coming up next, Terrific Tammy Hansen.
You can hear all of the original music from tonight's game on the Rollergames soundtrack album. Georgia did it to Tammy again. We'll fill you in on the details in a few minutes.
The Commissioner's Cup. It is the target of 6 teams that compete in roller games. The T-Birds, the Violators, Bad Attitude, the Rockers, who are with us tonight, Hot Flash, and the Maniacs. We are halfway through tonight's game in the Super Roller Dome, and the Rockers trail the Violators by 9 points, 60-51. On the infield, the men of the Rockers are huddling and preparing their fourth quarter strategy. Ditto the men of the Violators. Out on the track, meanwhile, it's Dar the Star, Sweet Stephanie, and friends. And the third period begins. A new 45-second scoring cycle. Remember, you try to get as many 45-second cycles as possible into 6-minute periods in which that 6-minute clock never stops. The lead jetter in the black is the Fleet. Paula Wilson behind her, Deadly Debbie. They both got 2 on the wall of death and 2 on the jet jump. Let's keep an eye now on the rear blockers who are so important in this sport. Sweet Stephanie there in the black, dropping Deadly Debbie, and Dar the Star in the leopard skin, slowing down the Fleet Paula Wilson. Deadly Debbie has to try again. Brawl, meanwhile, on the main concourse. That's Nasty Nancy strangling Maeve Cromie. A pop on the back of the head. Down goes Deadly Debbie. Lady D sends rather easily to the rail the Flea.
Well, these two are longtime rivals. We saw them go at it in the last period. Sweet Stephanie and Dar the Star.
You know, there's another special lady circling the track right now, Mae Cromie. There she is. Mother of 2 boys, she's involved in Cub Scout meetings and T-ball, and she also counsels teenagers and adults on drug abuse.
But of course, her #1 ambition in life, like so many of these rocker stars, is to be in a rock band.
Well, right now they're behind 13 points on the LA Gear scoreboard.
Chuck, I just learned that the living legend, Ralphie Violators, has entered the Super Roller Dome. I think that he's up to something. He's keeping an eye out tonight on Jennifer Van Golder, the former T-Bird twin. There she is right there.
And she has tied up Lolly Waterman, the Rockers jetter, who did not get a pass at the jetway, so no points for her. Sweet Stephanie, meanwhile, got 4 through the jetway. She'll now try to get individual points. A second attempt to get past Dar the Star, and it fails like the first. But here's the lady with a lot of spunk, as you see Lolly still trying to get free. A third failure by Sweet Stephanie, and time is running out in the scoring cycle. 4 seconds.
Come on.
2, and it'll not happen for Sweet Stephanie. But the Rockers scored no points, so the Violators widen their lead to 17.
I cannot believe the controversy surrounding this league right now between Ralphie, Georgia Haas, and the twins. Georgia Haas is, of course, trying to keep Ralphie off the track for good. She says that if he is to go into the Hall of Fame, he cannot be an active skater. And, of course, she's also trying to keep the T-Bird twins off of the T-Birds for good. She's been very successful at splitting them up. One has gone to the Violators and, of course, one to the Maniacs. And that was just a devastating blow to the T-Birds. I can't believe it, Chuck. I just can't believe it. These 2 girls belong on the T-Birds.
The Flea, Paula Wilson, is going to jet this cycle. There she goes up the wall of death and gets a couple of points. Behind her, and quite a bit behind her, is Deadly Debbie Van Doren. Both ladies are going to come off the jetway with 4 points each. Here comes Deadly Debbie, trying to catch up. Drops the Flea, slips herself, and now is kind of forgetting her purpose, which is to score. She decides to play defense and is flogging the Flea. Time running out in this cycle. The Jetters are going at it. No additional points will be scored, and that's it. But it's a cycle in which they cancel each other's scoring. 81 to 64 is the count.
Can you believe how close this game is? One big move on that wall of death, and these Rockers could really do it to the Violators.
Time for perhaps one more cycle, and here it comes. Nasty Nancy Wilkinson in the black will jet for the Violators.
Oh, whoa!
You're looking at a lady, and behind her, Dar the Star. Nasty Nancy grew up in a skating rink as a teenager in Mobile, Alabama.
They're not getting a whole lot off that jump tonight. Of course, if you don't have the right momentum coming off that wall of death, it's very difficult to make it over that 12-foot marker on the jump.
Nasty Nancy goes down. Dar the Star wearing the helmet, working her way past those black jerseys and getting individual points. With 10 seconds left in the cycle and the whip from Lady D, can Dar the Star get around Sweet Stephanie? 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. There's the collision, and yes! A spectacular cartwheel over the rail by Sweet Stephanie, who is spending as much time on the concrete as on the Masonite track. And there's the lady basking in the glow of a great cycle for the Rockers.
And they love Dar the Star.
Stephanie just now scraping herself up.
I noticed there's Jennifer going up there. Oh, wait a minute. Jennifer Van Golder, the former T-Bird twin.
She's getting scolded again for helping the opposition.
She was going up to congratulate Dar the Star on that last scoring cycle, and look what has happened.
Sweet Stephanie is seeing the world from a slightly different perspective. Mike Garth has his leg entangled, and it looks like, yep, he's going to go down as well. Loses his glasses.
Throw her into the penalty pod. Come on, finer.
A scolding from Garth. Sweet Stephanie goes down to a lower part of the track to try to re-enter.
There's Ralphie Violators, the living legend.
Get her! Get her!
That's the skull telling Sweet Stephanie to get her.
Oh, come on!
And she does.
We're going a wrong team.
Wait a minute! Skull just hit Jennifer! Can you believe that?
Wait, what are you doing out here, Bella? Wait, you don't belong out here, Bella. Your game is not tonight.
She's not supposed to lay her hands on her.
Wait a minute.
Lay your hands on her.
Who's the
Ralphie is
manager?
right.
You handle it, Steve. You handle
I
it,
can't
Steve.
believe that Skull hit her.
You just handle it, Steve. Get off the track right now. Off the track. Get off the track right now.
Unbelievable. Wait a minute. What's Ralphie doing? What's he tearing up? Ralphie is claiming that Jennifer is no longer a violator.
Let me talk to you, Ralphie.
Let's go down to Shelley to see if we can find out what's going on. What in the world?
Congratulations! You're back together. That's right. This is wonderful. League rules stay.
Somebody get off the track. We got a game going here.
Congratulations. League rules state abuse by a manager is automatic cancellation of a contract.
Shelley is absolutely right. Jennifer is going home to the T-Birds. The Skulls just hit her, and that means that Ralphie can have her back. She's going home to the T-Birds. League bylaws specifically state that a manager cannot hit a player.
Well, that is the end of the third period. And we will be back with the men when we return.
Georgia tried to stop her at the half, but Tammy will get her big chance in just minutes.
Back in the Super Roller Dome, we begin the fourth period of play with the Violators enjoying a 13-point lead. The Jetters, as the men return to the track, will be shifty. Bob Sendejas in the black for the Violators, and the California kid, Mike Flanagan, who gets tied up and does not get to the jetway. 2 points for shifty on the wall and over the jump. And there's the kid, after another lap, finally getting free, and he gets 6 on the wall of death. And another 6 on the jump. Nicely done. Now he's going to try to get some blocking, and he does get it from Rockin' Ray Robles. He sweeps past the Violators, swiftly stops the cycle, and despite a nearly disastrous start when he couldn't reach the jetway, he has pulled his team now to within just 2 points. It's 89-87.
Chuck, I just read the rule book, and it specifically states that if a manager hits one of his players, then that player may elect to become a free agent. And it appears as though Jennifer Van Golder is going back to the T-Birds because Skull hit her. And Ralphie was standing by and said, I am taking her home. So it appears as though she will go back to the T-Birds, but it's going to be interesting to see how the league commissioner rules on that incident.
The Jetters are the killer Greg Robertson, who drop kicks Bam Bam Art May and then says, I didn't do anything wrong.
Oh!
Bam Bam takes a second shot, trying to return to the track. The killer now is ordering blocking by his teammates ahead of him. Oh, so Mr. Mean comes back, drops gentleman John Rodriguez. The enforcer, Tony Trujillo, is muscling away some of those leopard skin jerseys. Nice. Mr. Mean undercuts the California kid, and with just seconds left in the cycle, the killer dances past some opponents. It was a good cycle for the Violators. They widen their lead from 2 points to now 6, 97-91.
And there he is, the freight train of pain, Mr. Mean, the most sadistic, the most brutal force in all the league. And this month, he is the featured player on the cover of Rollergames magazine. I can't believe that guy's ugly mug was featured on such a prominent publication.
There goes Rockin' Ray Robles, a fourth-year pro in this league, up the wall of death. He gets 3 steps above the 2-point line. Gets 2 on the jump. Meanwhile, Brian Jacobson has prevented shifty Bob Sendejas, a violator, from going up on the jetway. And here it is, mano a mano, man on man. The Jetter against the rear blocker, Rockin' Ray against Mr. Mean. And Rockin' Ray is 0 for 3, and here he comes for more. And he's 0 for 4. Under 3 seconds left in the cycle, and down still another time as the cycle ends. And Mr. Mean celebrates.
I think there's way too much violence out there tonight. They ought to throw that guy into the gator pit. I've said it many, many times before, but there's no place in this sport for that kind of activity. Unbelievable. He just doesn't stop.
Rockin' Ray, Mr. Mean. To the infield they go and over toward the swamp.
Oh, I think he's going to try to throw him in.
Both officials trying to pry them apart. Seconds being wasted in this final period in what is only a 2-point game.
I just hate to see time eating up on the clock like this. Of course, in this game, there are no timeouts.
New Jetters, the Killer in the black. Greg Robertson for the Violators, and the Rolling Rocker, Brian Jacobson for the Rockers.
Oh, what
the Killer off balance. And he threw the Rolling Rocker off balance. So calamity on the wall for both men. They'll now just barely limp over the jet jump for a couple of points each. And now we see from the referee that the Killer interfered on the wall of death with the Rolling Rocker. The Violators will score no points in this cycle. And perhaps recognizing that, the Killer decides not to attempt to score any points. He'll play defense and just try to prevent Brian Jacobson from scoring, which he does. Time runs out. And the Rockers hot about that, claiming more interference from the Killer. But that ties the game at 99 apiece, and we have time for only one more cycle in the contest.
It is so close, we may have to bring out the Gators, the controversial alligators that are only used in sudden death overtime.
Rockin' Ray up the wall of death. Meanwhile, a pile of bodies awaits him. The Violators don't have a jetter. They were confused. Mr. Mean comes back to keep Rockin' Ray from passing his teammates and scoring more points. Rockin' Ray, by the way, got 6 over the jump. The Violators are in trouble on the scoreboard with only seconds left. And there those two go again as the clock counts down. What's Mr. Mean? Oh, he's going to mount the rail, and down he comes. And belly flops on the Masonite. Rockin' Ray races by to score a point. And Tony Trujillo misses on a screamer. Rockin' Ray stops the cycle. Time runs out.
Rockers win.
The Violators lose. Another look at an attempted screamer by the enforcer. And a subway by Rockin' Ray to avoid it. And from ground level, another look.
The good guys win.
It's over in the dome, and the Violators are down. The Rockers are celebrating, and we'll be back.
Well, Georgia may have been successful at keeping Tammy off the stage at halftime, but now she's going to get her big chance. Here's Shelley with more.
You've seen her skate on the team Hot Flash, and now you can hear her on the new Rollergames soundtrack. With Hit and Run, here's our own Tammy Hansen.
terrific Tammy Hansen singing Hit and Run. And we'll tell you how you can order that soundtrack coming up in just a minute.